Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our sixth session of UnifiMD IQ Insights and Quick Wins. Sharpen your workflow with fast, focused sessions. I'm Eric, and I've been with CHS for 3 years as a UnifiMD trainer. Some of you may be seeing me for the first time, while others of you might recognize me from helping behind the scenes on support calls. Joining me today is Juan, who over the past 13 years at CHS has transitioned from taking your service calls to becoming a UnifiMD trainer. Today's topic is going to be the building blocks of better notes, part 1, understanding note guide markers. Juan is going to be walking us through the demonstration today, which will cover building notes and using the delete para list, tab, and required markers. To show you how this works in practice, I'm going to pass it over to Juan for a quick demonstration.
Thank you, Eric. As Eric had mentioned, this is the first part of our mini series on building blocks of notes. The markers are the fundamental part of note building and are the most frequently used components. Once you master these features, completing a note can go from a tedious task to just a few minutes per visit. We are going to use a guide made specially for you today called the Building Blocks of Better Notes Part 1. And at this time, we're going to turn off our cameras and I'm going to share my session. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up a guide. I'm going to click on New. We're inside the patient's chart already. And we're going to select the Smart Guide. So guides allow you to quickly document a patient visit. In this day and age, we know that guides are an outline for a visit with variables for you to choose within the guide. The delete or DEL markers are on the foundational, is one of the foundational elemental templates. It allows you to click on an option and get a pre-canned response. The DEL formatting turns words typed in a note guide into red clickable options, and I'm going to show you here with this first one. So now you see that the DEL turned from red into black. How to create a delete marker. Type the question, phrase, or statement into the note guide with the possible answers preceding it. Highlight each answer individually. Click on the red DEL button in the format bar or use the hotkey of F5. And here is the format bar with the DEL. For best practices, use the delete formatting when there are 1 to 5 options. Let's put this into practice. Turn the answers below yes and no into options for delete markers. So are you learning a lot? The answers are yes or no. We're going to highlight the word no and then click on the delete marker or F5, whichever one you prefer. And then of course, the yes answer. And we'll do the same thing. So at the moment that you are about to document the note, you're going to answer this particular question. Are you learning a lot? The answer to this is going to be yes. And as you can see, the yes went from red text to black text. Some important notes. Once the note guide is pulled into the chart, DEL markers become selectable. If the note is placed on hold, all the markers will remain available when revisiting the note. However, any delete markers that are not selected during the signing process will disappear. The next item is the para. Para markers are another key component to note guides. Similar to delete markers, a para are green clickable options, but this time you will get more detailed response. Where the delete markers are best used for single word or short answers, the para markers are better for a phrase, sentence, or a full paragraph. These options have to have an exact match in what is known as the note codes dictionary. How to create a para. Click new in the note code list, enter key and description. The key should be a Cliff Notes version of the full sentence, phrase, or paragraph. Add content to the body, and of course, afterwards, save it. You want to take a look at it? Let's go. So we're going to browse to Guides, Smart Guides, Note Codes. Guides, Smart Guides, Note Codes. And what we're going to do, we're going to look or create, if you wanted to, the paramarker. So I am gonna just search for the one we already created, reduce clutter. And the key for this one would be reduce clutter itself. So on the note guide itself, we would write reduce clutter and highlight it, and of course, use the paramarker to make that green. That's the key, or the note code. So with the note code, we put a description, and then of course, the information that's going to go into the body of that note code. And then of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to save that. So when we go here for the purpose and benefits, we're going to click on reduce clutter, and you will see that that whole paragraph pulled in, right? And this gives you the opportunity to save a lot of space and of course, less information to review. Whereas if you were not going to use the clinically relevant, you just leave it as is. And as I mentioned earlier, anything that is signed and not clicked on will disappear from the note itself. So as you can see, useful explanations, and we have that information pulling in. So some of the best practices, the spelling, spacing, and punctuation must be exactly the same for this work. Copy and paste when creating those note codes or the keys are your best friends. They could also become more complex. For example, learning how to use an EMR may cause some injury to your brain, but here's the good news. Click here to find out. So what I'm going to do right now is click on this para rapid recovery expected. You will see a vast amount of information pulling in. So as you can see, good news, rapidly recovery expected. So within this para, you will have delete markers, as you can see, and also another para. So it could just lead on and on depending on your workflow and practice. Now I'm going to also click on recommended treatment. It pulled in that particular sentence. Some of the important notes. Once the note guide is pulled into the chart, para markers become selectable. If the note is placed on hold, as I mentioned earlier with the delete markers, all markers will remain available when revisiting the note. However, any para markers that are not selected during the signing process will disappear. The next item up on the list is, ironically, the list markers. List markers are the third foundational element of a note guide. The list marker is a yellow clickable option that allows a user to select single or multiple items from a pick list. Like the para markers, list markers are made up of note codes. The note code key must all start the same but have a different ending, such as day 1, day 2, day 3. So the note code itself is going to be the word day. And I will show you guys in a few minutes how that works. To pull this into the note, the word day will be made into the list marker. How to create a list note codes. Go to Guides, Smart Guides, Note Codes, click New in the note code list, enter the key using a common naming scheme with a distinguishing ending. For example, 1, 2, 3, or ABC. Of course, give a description and then add the content into the body, and then of course, click Save. So I am going to click that, create that marker for you, and I'm going to use the word day. I'm going to highlight it. And as I mentioned before, it's very important for spacing. If you select a space before or after, that must also be the same in the note code. And I am going to click on the list marker and make this word day a clickable option. But we have to make it work. We went into the note codes, and the first thing I'm going to do is look for the word day. Because if it already exists, we're not going to recreate it. There's days, but not the options that we're looking for. So I am going to click on new on the bottom left. And like I said, copy and paste is your best friend. So for this one, it's going to be day 1. I'm going to type it in, day 1, because that's my description. And of course, in the body is the word day 1. And I'm going to click save. We're going to do it again. Click on new. day 02. And as you can see, it's just a matter of repetition and doing it over and over as many times as it needs to happen. Day 03. So we created 3 items that could be clicked on as far as the days, day 01, 02, and 03. If we go back to the note itself, you'll notice that we could click on that and select from the items on this list. And then we insert it. That's how you create a pick list. So the purpose and benefits as far as the pick list, and you can see here, we will have another pick list because you'll notice that my mouse cursor has changed from the regular cursor to a finger pointing. That lets you know that that is a key. If I hover over the word list, even though it's yellow, it's just actual yellow text. So we click purpose and benefits. And of course, within the pick list, another thing to mention, if there are multiple items or all items need to be selected, use your keyboard, your keystrokes. For example, I want to select 1 through 4, but I don't want to do 4 clicks. I click on the first one and then use the shift key on my keyboard, hold it down and press on the 4th item, and I could enter all 4 of them in one shot. Or, for example, if I wanted just to do 1 and 3, click on 1, use the control key, hold it down, and select the number 3 benefit. And then, of course, insert it into the note. Those are all the options available. In this case, I'm going to insert just the first one, and there it is. So for best practices, the spelling, spacing, punctuation must be exactly the same for the core part of the note code. For this to work, copy and paste is always your best friend. That way you don't make any mistakes. Another commonly used marker is the tab marker. They allow you to quickly tab through a paragraph by using the tab key on your keyboard. I'm going to scroll all the way to the top of this particular guide, so that way you can see that we could go from the very beginning, and if I want to get to where the tab marker is at, all I do is click on the tab button on my keyboard, and it takes me there. So you can see it is at the bottom of this page, and I'm going to scroll it up. Say that 5 times in a row on a Monday morning. So I'm going to click on the tab button again, and it takes me to the next tab where I want to document. So as you can see, tab markers are extremely helpful for users that use Dragon to take their notes. It helps you track of the places that needs to be entered. The steps to add to the note guide, place the cursor on a line that needs the data entered. Click the maroon tab button on the format bar, and then you can enter that tab there. So I'm going to do that right now. And there it is. So enter that into your note guide. Once the note guide is pulled into the chart, tab markers become selectable. Sounds like you've heard this before. If the note is placed on hold, all markers will remain available when revisiting the note. However, any tab markers that are not selected during the signing process of the note will disappear. Last but not least, note guides have required markers or REQ markers. Any information to the right of the required marker must be completed before signing the note. You'll notice that this is in bold letters. It's very important. So the purpose and benefits of this: it ensures data that must be present and it's not missing. Steps to add to a note guide: place the cursor on a line that must be answered, click the purple REQ button in the format bar, and just like we did the tab button, the REQ will go there. So some important notes: a required field does not need to be populated in order to place the note on hold. A note will not be able to be saved with required markers that are not completed. If a required field is left blank, you will be instructed to go back and correct this. You cannot remove the required marker field when you're documenting a note. It must be removed from within the guide itself.
Oh, so there's no way for a provider to skip that required field while documenting the note?
That is correct. There's a reason and a purpose for that, is just to remind the provider that they must enter critical information in this particular area of their note. Great
Gotcha.
question, Eric. Thank you. So let's put it to a test. We have a required marker here. Did you learn anything from this training? We're going to leave it blank. We're going to ignore it. We're going to try and save this note by clicking Save and Sign. And this is the message that you will get. One or more required fields have not been populated into your note. We're going to click OK to that. And you'll notice that the cursor was pushed or pulled into that particular field. We're going to answer that with the word yes. And that's how we correct this particular required field, this mandatory request. So you reach the end of our session, the Building Blocks of Better Notes Part 1, Understanding Note Guide Markers. Now it's time for you to enter the world of templates. So we're going to save and sign this note, and you will see that that message has gone away. And we're going to sign off on this particular progress note. And we have documented this note, and it's inserted into the patient's chart.
Perfect. Thanks, Juan. That was great information and it was really easy to follow. For all of you watching, thank you for joining in. We know that completing notes quickly and efficiently helps your office spend more face-to-face time with patients and less time documenting after hours. If you'd like a one-on-one session about today's topic or any other topic, please give us a call at 1-800-250-8687, option 2 for support, and you can speak with Candy to submit a support ticket. You can also send your questions by email to support@mailchs.com. Also, don't forget to check out the CHS One Stop periodically for updated training manuals, help articles, and other user resources for the program. If you don't have access to the CHS One Stop yet, give us a call so we can get you set up with an account. If there are any other topics you would like to see in a video like this, please let us know, and we'll see you all again soon.